anyone can beat it, but hey, I'm crooning to you.
Hi.
Hot hi to you too. So.
Hot hi, ladies and gents. This is Load Bearing Beams, the podcast where we talk about some movies
Very slowly.
and we get in fights about them.
Mm-hmm. I'm Lacey Roth.
I'm Matt Stokes, and today we're going to be talking about How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Empire Strikes Back.
And how the Empire stole my afternoon.
Yeah. Before we get into that, I can just say that I think I now understand why nerds turn into Nazis so often. But we'll get into that.
Oh, fuck.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's go with the Grinch. Let's go with our low-hanging, load-bearing.
All right. So,
do you not feel like we need to describe this?
That's what I was going to say. Why don't we describe this podcast? That's what you usually do. Go ahead, please.
No, you. I insist.
Well, A Load Bearing Beam is a movie that you love, that you cherish, that you grew up with, perhaps.
Remember
and
fondly.
You have a little worry that if you show it to somebody you really care about, whose opinion you respect,
you will be revealed for the fool that you are.
Mm-hmm. So you hesitate and you squirm, but you do it. You watch it with them, and then you see how you really feel. Well,
and you hope for validation. And how did you not know about this hidden gem? I own it. Mm-hmm. I found this movie. I discovered it. That's why a lot of them are that way for me. A lot of them, I feel like I discovered them.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my movie today, The Empire Strikes Back.
Right, you're the only one that's ever seen it.
Yeah, just a little indie darling that I stumbled upon. Okay, so yeah, we're doing this 2 days before the release of the new Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi, and
let's hope
we're gonna see that movie,
Just
and we're gonna do an episode, just do a little quick recap of our thoughts about it, because the very first episode of Load Bearing Beams, the first movie we talked about, was the original Star Wars. And now we're talking about The Empire Strikes Back today, because I remember I kept saying on that podcast, well, the things you don't like about this movie, they'll be corrected by the next movie, don't you worry. So we'll see if that holds up. We'll see if that's true. But first, a movie I've noticed most people don't actually know the title of this movie in book. They usually say The Grinch Who Stole Christmas or The Grinch. Anyway, How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Alphabetically. Adbarkian, Abacanesia who? I hate you! Aaron B. Benson who? I hate you. Hate. Double hate. Loathe entirely.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas, if you didn't know, is a movie from 2000, directed by Ron Howard and starring Jim Carrey. This was the biggest movie of the year 2000. It was the number one earner at the box office. It made $260 million. It was a gigantic hit. Lacey, what did you think about this movie when it came out?
All right, got it. Well, Jim Carrey has a special groove in my brain. From the instant I saw him in Living Color, I felt connected to his physical comedy, the way that he seems to almost torture himself for a laugh. His body, his facial contortions, his just wholehearted thrusting of himself into the most ridiculous of things that make him look insane, and it doesn't matter to him. It's just all part of the. It's all part of the end result, which is adoring praise. So for that, anyway, I've always related to most things that he's done. There's definitely exceptions. So starting with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, to The Mask, although it's not my favorite. And especially Dumb and Dumber. I treasure this man. But a lot of these you've already seen, and I don't know that they're, I mean, they're all entertaining, but I don't know that they are ones I necessarily would vouch for. I know it's a question of taste. But The Grinch, for some reason, just seemed universally just good.
Well, comedy is a weird subject for us to talk about because comedy is so particular. You can just say, well, this was funny, and then I could say, no, but I didn't laugh. I don't think it's funny.
No, and I
then
get that.
What do we do? Like my friend Patrick loves Dumb and Dumber as well, and he made me watch it when we were in college, and I'd never seen it before, and he just the whole time he was just seething with anger that I wasn't laughing at it.
Yeah.
It's like, boy, it's not funny to me. I don't know what you want from me. I'm not trying to hate it.
It's a strange thing too, because what attracted me to you from the very beginning is your keen sense of humor and that we do get each other. But out of the two of us, I've always been the one that's okay with the cheap laugh and getting a cheap laugh. I definitely play to my audience, but you are unapologetically the same temperament of comedy, of sarcasm, of you keep your standards right where they are for you and you apply them to everyone, where I go to the audience because it's more.
Wait, I mean, I don't get how that applies so much here.
It does, because my spectrum of what I think is funny is, well, it's further spanning than yours.
But like Jim Carrey, you're saying his style is just not. He's
slapstick. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily your thing.
I guess not. He's not funny. He's just him.
That's just his Grinch voice. You can't see what he does and appreciate how hard it is, or you just.
That's a different question.
Sure.
Is what he does hard? Sure. Is he talented? Yes, definitely.
Right.
He seems historically talented, but like a great singing voice. I don't. You can be a great singer, or you can have a great singing voice and not be a great singer. And you can have a lot of talent and a lot of comedic talent, and a lot of acting talent, but if it's not put to good use, who cares?
I couldn't see another use for.
I know. I don't mean. Why don't you do something else other than make movies like carpentry? I mean,
sure.
What's the performance in a movie that he's given where it's been like, wow, nobody.
Every single thing that he's ever done.
I wasn't gonna say who else could have done that, but your particular brand of comedy and acting.
Mine.
Jim Carrey's. I don't know that I've ever seen it put to good work in a movie.
Well, have you seen it put to good work generally then?
No, I don't like just from
sketch comedy.
Just seeing him on stage seems like it. But even there, I don't think it's.
No, I think it's way less applicable to stand up. It's too short bursts. Like you kind of need to sink down into it. And I'm not saying every character works. I really hate Me, Myself, and Irene.
Well, okay. I'm just saying I'm only familiar with his movies, and I don't like any of his movies, and I don't like him in any of these movies. But I appreciate him as a talent.
Sure.
But I don't feel that a director has ever put him in a movie and put his particular talents to good use, I guess.
Oh, all right. I'd say The Truman Show. I'd say...
I haven't seen The Truman Show since it came out in theaters. Like, I'm sure it's good.
Yeah. I'd also say Dumb and Dumber. And Liar Liar.
Well, that's why. How are you gonna have a conversation?
Yeah,
about
exactly.
This?
Anyway,
I don't think it's funny.
My only point. I'm sorry, we're really tangent. This is the reason why I picked The Grinch and not all the other ones. I can completely understand just by ruling out things due to taste and certain comedy, how it appeals to you and some that doesn't. I wouldn't have tortured myself and picked those. And it's too easy to make fun of. It has to have more to it than just a certain kind of style of comedy, or else it's not going to be interesting to talk about.
Mm-hmm. And
it's Christmas time, and you told me to pick a Christmas movie, and so I picked The Grinch. I should have picked Scrooge, but we did. I didn't want to do two Bill Murray movies back to back.
And we did watch Scrooge a few years ago. We watched like an hour and a half of it, and you said, "Can we stop?" Because
it was so effing boring. This keeps happening to me. I think I do enjoy a movie that I can kind of tune out of for a little while.
When you're watching it with somebody else, you feel more accountable. Like, oh God, this is boring.
But when we first met, you noticed that I always had the TV on, and in my life, in my childhood, TV on means things are normal. It's a comforting background thing for me. I don't necessarily need to be looking at it. And like if you and I are having a conversation, it can be on and it doesn't distract me. I just like it. the warm glow, the
Very healthy,
the
yeah.
way that I fall asleep to. Well, it was my companion. Cable Guy, you should see that one. That one's about TV and love of TV. Anyway, so I'm thinking maybe my capacity for movies that are actually fucking boring is that I'm not watching it most of the time. That's my only explanation for how well Scrooged certainly just went on, and it's not fresh in my mind, but I remember thinking, this is not... I live for those super quotable parts that I then quote for the rest of my life and just go on my merry way thinking everything wrapped around those quotes was good. Mm-hmm. And it's not.
So what'd you think of The Grinch this time?
Bored. I asked you to turn it off an hour in. He made me watch the whole thing, though. But after you pointed out the weird camera angles, I was just dizzy the whole time. And I hate Cindy Lou Who, and I'm supposed to like her, I am sure. But I would posit that America does not like her because she's gone nowhere since that movie.
Well, I mean, child actors. I don't know.
She was like 23.
Yeah, in the Grinch.
Yeah, just wore weird hair.
Okay, yeah, maybe. I saw The Grinch when it came out in theaters. That was the only time I'd seen
Humble brag.
And my reaction this time was exactly what it was when I was 12.
Oh
so
my God, you're so steadfast and sturdy and the same.
I'm not. My opinions change all the time and are very, very flexible. And
as we'll see on this podcast episode.
But sitting in the theater as a 12-year-old watching The Grinch in a packed theater, I remember, because this was a fucking huge movie.
Right.
I just remember thinking, like, this is fun, right? This is supposed to be fun. This is
Who were you with?
I was by myself because
Okay.
because if you must know, I had started a new school.
I really
like
don't
midway
must
through the
know.
school year. Okay, but I was like trying to make friends, and some kids at school were like, "Hey, everybody in the class is going to the movies tonight. Matt, you coming?" And I was like, "I'll be there."
And in true
certainly."
Matt style, he does not ask what time or for any details. He
I
just
didn't know
fucking
that you had to do
shows
stuff
up.
like that.
Yeah, because there's
Wait.
only the one screening.
You've heard this story?
I'm just saying, it's so you to leave off that part.
Well, I did okay, but I got to the movies. I didn't see anyone I knew, so I went into the movie and watched it by myself, and it was very sad. But also, I could
Okay, so given
that may have infected the way I viewed the movie.
Exactly.
But I wasn't wrong. This movie is boring.
Well, you were sitting next to me the whole time. That could have ruined it for you.
This movie is boring.
Yes, no, you're
and
right.
you
it's
know
boring.
this is true because nobody
I know it's true.
nobody watches this movie anymore.
I watch it
Nobody
every year,
talks this
but I apparently only watch pieces of it every year. Which is so bizarre.
Well, so why doesn't it?
Okay, so
work?
when I saw this movie, I saw it in theaters as well, and I was in my heyday of like high school was just getting okay, but I had discovered friends that were like me that weren't just friends that I started to feel like fitting in with these two people. Mm-hmm. We went to see that movie together, and in my recollection is never not dying laughing, and it's probably just we were just in a mood. Mm-hmm. And from then on, at least once a year, we will text each other a gif or a quote. That's how much it stayed with us.
and that's a testament to how you can get these particular things stuck.
Right.
Because are people like walking around quoting this movie a lot? There's really nothing memorable about it, right?
Yeah. You're asking the wrong person.
No, I know.
All it is a big bushel of memories to me. So yeah, I mean, clearly this is a specific example of something that just got stuck in my nostalgia tree. And
the reasons why this movie doesn't work are very obvious. I mean, the book The Grinch by Dr. Seuss is like 25 pages long. It's a very simple story. This movie has to expand it into 2 hours basically, and gives you the Grinch origin story that you were clamoring for.
Right.
Find out the Grinch was bullied as a child. And he fell in love with a girl in class, but then he gave himself a bad shave, and he was
this
made
thing
fun
is a
of.
cucumber. It's a vehicle for
Okay.
ranch dressing.
Okay.
All you actually want is the ranch dressing, so you should probably just drink it out of the container.
What is the ranch dressing here?
Jim Carrey in a green suit looking crazy and getting the excuse to be naked because he's fat and hairy around the nakedness. Like he's just like silly dad bod before that was a thing. And he's just prancing around.
Well, then
that's it. That's all that's good about this movie.
But
is
this
him.
isn't good. But is this good, Carrie? Is this high quality? top echelon Carrie.
At times, until I get really transfixed on how hot he must be inside that makeup and how hard it must have been for him to put it on him, and then I get distracted and feel bad for him.
Yeah, but what's top notch Jim Carrey? Any of his movies?
Yeah, I understand your question. I'm thinking, well, there's two sides of the coin. I'd say, Sunshine of a Spotless.
Yeah, that's it.
Mine, Eternal Sunshine. Fuck me, yeah. And Dumb and Dumber.
I do like Eternal Sunshine, but I haven't watched it in many years, so I don't know how I still feel about it. And what I remember about it is not him.
No, me neither. I just remember it's a really good movie. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but anyway,
I just like being in his presence.
Okay, and you sure get a lot of that, but he's very annoying in this movie, and this is a complete misinterpretation of what works about the book, The Grinch.
I really don't think the book mattered.
What?
I think it was just, let me make a Christmas movie that's going to be a huge big budget success. Ron Howard Carey joint.
I don't care what the intention of let's throw away the book and who cares because we're just going to get people in the. I'm saying when you adopt a property, and especially the official title of the movie is Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Go
ahead, say your alphabetizing thing.
I wasn't going to, but since you asked, yeah, it's really annoying when movies do that because then where do you put it in your DVD collection? Right. It's like how The Avengers is actually called Marvel's The Avengers.
Right. Oh,
what are we to do with that? But my point...
You get 2 copies, you put one in M and one in
A. My point is that everything that works about Dr. Seuss on the page is totally lost on screen. There's never really been a good Dr. Seuss movie.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the exact same thing. It's just visually...
But this is a fucking. This movie looks like shit.
It's a
big
dirty.
shitty stage.
It's smoky.
Yeah, the camera angles,
colors.
like you mentioned, are just twisty, and everything
wonky.
Everything's straight, and then just the camera just tilts, so you just feel like you're in a dream, and you get sleepy, and it's boring, and the book that's supposed to be a criticism of the commercialization of Christmas has turned into a movie so that they can sell action figures and tickets to Universal Studios.
The all-time best-selling action figure of Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah. And, fucking ride where you ride down the tubes and in the Grinch's sled. I promise it has to be. It has to be.
You're promising something you don't know? That's very Grinchy of you.
What else?
Really nothing else. This movie, not awesome. Fucking, of course. What's the Rotten Tomatoes on this?
Let me see.
Don't worry about it.
No.
All right, let's see. I'm just getting a little fatigued on not picking movies very well. What is it?
This movie has a 53%.
Yeah, it deserves it.
Yeah. It's we watched the Jim Carrey documentary on Netflix, Jim and Andy, about Jim Carrey's time.
It's uncomfortable.
Filming The Man on the Moon, where he played Andy Kaufman. It was really, really interesting, though.
It was interesting. Yeah.
How did you react to it?
I don't know what there were definitely moments where I felt, well, again, an uncomfortable connection to the things he was saying. He's also just...
What do you mean?
Just the anything, being so possessed by the idea of entertaining whoever you're in front of that you lose yourself sometimes, or come out of it and think, I went really far with that one, or maybe that wasn't worth it. Method acting has always creeped me out. I'm so glad I wasn't on the set of him doing Man on the Moon. I think he's way obsessive about Andy Kaufman so it was definitely insightful. I got to really get a glimpse into what Jim Carrey's actually like, and it wasn't well,
they intercut footage of him making the movie in 1998 and never breaking character as Andy Kaufman with him, Jim Carrey, in 2017 talking directly into the camera and always looking straight into the camera
Right.
because he's performing there too.
Right, he's performing there. And he's being a grizzly, learned man.
But I mean, so blowhardy about
Pretentious.
how important this all is. Except,
Yes.
but is it really important? Because what does it all even mean, man? You know what I'm saying?
And his super picked out, awesome leather jacket outfit, like material things. I just don't even want anything, which is great to say when you can make that choice.
When you make $20 million a movie for
Right.
movies that nobody sees. I remember like 10 years ago, the articles about how Jim Carrey was the most overpaid actor started coming out. I feel like now everybody realizes it.
No, yeah.
Because it was...
That's why he released this 20 years after the fact. He had someone follow him around for this to be turned into a documentary because he knew how important it was, man. And so don't you think there's no coincidence that he waited till he probably needed a little bit of cash flow? Or like
I
he
don't
just
think he
wasn't
got paid for this. I think...
I mean more like people aren't talking about me enough anymore. So just
Well,
a little buzz.
it's also just like I want to show everybody that I have reached a point of self-actualization where I don't need the fulfillment of big box office movies, and I don't need adoring crowds. I'm just cool no matter what happens.
So let me do this for my crowd.
So let me make this very artificially constructed documentary and tell my story exactly as I want to tell it, because
Right,
he was a
complete
producer on the
control.
documentary.
Right.
It wasn't authorized.
But he also was in possession of all of that film for 20 years. So anything he didn't like, he could have gotten rid of. And like, yeah, it wasn't like this huge.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was very crafted.
It's all just look how hard I worked.
Yes.
And
Ultimate theater kid.
yeah, it's like what you say about crooners, how they don't impress you.
They don't.
Because anybody can. Well, wait, what do you say?
Anyone can croon. Crooning is not a real skill.
Oh.
Fly me to the moon.
No,
yeah,
I don't know that I agree with you
I
then.
just fucking crooned.
I don't know that I agree with you.
Anyone
That's-
who can sing a little bit, that's what they can sing. Crooning is not a skill.
That's fine.
It's a singing ability. You can't do it if you can't sing, but it's like the lowest kind of singing.
Okay.
Anyone can beat a bop. Oh, hey, I'm crooning to you. Give a fuck about that.
So when you hear like punk rock music, are you not like you're not? Are you just thinking like, wow, those are just really simple chords and they're not very?
You think I think
talented
about
music?
guitar?
No, I'm wondering because you
No.
seem to equate it with difficulty.
No, I'm saying that every blowhard actor dickhole that says he can sing is that kind of
Is a
singer.
crooner, is Seth
That is
MacFarlane?
like Ronnie Lamar, our local hometown hero who sells Fords. Lamarck Ford. Put on his own concert to croon.
Yeah. He's passed a billboard, Ronnie Lamarck Live. Like, what is that? He's like going to give a TED talk about how to sell cars?
No, he
put on a show.
He put on his own funeral in memoriam. Anyway, we've given too much airtime to him.
Yes. Good day, sir. Oh, this fucking guy. City New Orleans is unique.
3, 4. Everybody, love Mary Keems, love Mary.